Mr. Nichols, I'm deeply concerned that the Western Hemisphere is being overwhelmed by anti-Americanism, and that countries across the region are aligning themselves with our adversaries and our enemies. I'm deeply concerned that former U.S. allies are being replaced by leaders who are actively hostile to us and our interests, and that the Biden administration has chosen to embrace many of those leaders. President Biden warmly hosted Lula da Silva at the White House and called him a close friend. Lula is an anti-American Chavista who embraces the Chinese Communist Party, Vladimir Putin, and the Iranian regime. I'll note that President Biden has not extended the same courtesy to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and indeed the Biden White House has made clear that Israel's Prime Minister is not welcome in the Biden White House. Now, one of the very insidious ways that our adversaries and our enemies have infiltrated the region is through corruption. China, Russia, and Iran all exploit endemic corruption, including and especially corruption driven by left-wing movements to advance their geopolitical agendas. Congress, and specifically this committee, has recognized the importance of combating such corruption and have given you powerful tools, in particular under Section 7031C, sanction authorities. The Biden administration has used these sanctions repeatedly across the Western Hemisphere, but not, I'm dismayed to say, not against the left-wing anti-American communists who are aligning with Russia and China and Iran. Quite the opposite. Again, the Biden administration has looked the other way at malign behavior from such actors. Well, Brazil. Bolsonaro, a pro-American leader, was replaced, to the Biden administration's cheering, with an anti-American radical Lula. And there is corruption likewise in the Lula government. In February, Lula allowed 2 of Iran's most advanced warships to dock in the port of Rio de Janeiro. The United States opposed that act, at least formally. In fact, the United States sanctioned those ships with what are supposed to be powerful designations, and yet it happened. I believe the Lula government's corruption played a significant role in their decision to ignore the Biden administration and allow the docking. Do you agree with that assessment? And has the Biden administration enforced any sanctions related to that instance, and in particular to the Brazilians providing material support to the Iranian ships?
The administration engaged our partners throughout the hemisphere, and we're very pleased that the Iranian ships were not able to dock anywhere else. We're deeply disappointed that one of the 2 ships was able to dock in Brazil. The other was offshore. I refer you to OFAC for any additional information on.
Has the Biden administration sanctioned the Brazilian government, led by Joe Biden's self-described good friend, the anti-American leftist Lula? Have you sanctioned the Brazilian government for violating U.S. law and allowing the Iranian ships to dock?
I would refer you to OFAC as to whether or not they've made a determination that action violated.
You don't know whether you've sanctioned Brazil?
I would refer you to OFAC.
Do you know?
I would refer you to OFAC.
Do you know the answer? That's a yes or no question. Do you know whether the Biden administration has sanctioned Brazil?
I am not aware of any sanctions with regard to that specific situation.
Nor am I, and that's the problem.